Good morning. Okay, so today I had a customer bring me a computer that was literally dripping coffee as it was here in the shop, and I was talking to her. So this is the worst thing that can happen to a computer, obviously, especially when there's power involved. If the battery is still connected, which it was, you could have a wide variety of issues. So basically, she brought this in, and she said that it was working, and then it stopped working. The keyboard and mouse stopped working, which is very common. But the fact that it was still on was very worrisome. So anyhow, I got her information, and I set it aside for a few minutes. And when my bench cleared up, I went to grab it, and this thing was, it had to have been 180 degrees. It was almost too hot to hold, and that's on the outside. So I carefully took the bottom off of it, found out that this battery that's obviously there was coffee everywhere. This battery was blazing hot on this side and then kind of radiating over here. So I'll show you a couple things on here. Let's get the microscope and I can show you something kind of interesting on this battery. All right, so on this battery, let's see if I can, where are we at? All right, on this main board here, check this out. It is burnt. Burnt. That looks terrible. Something shorted this battery. Obviously it was the coffee, but somewhere it shorted here, which caused the entire device to get hot because of this battery. And I imagine if I would have left it, it would have caught fire. So I want to show you a couple things. There's the bottom. You can see how much coffee was in there. I've already gone through here and removed everything that I could remove at the time. Looking at this, it's obviously a mess. And maybe bad news, but I don't see any burnt spots on here. I've already cleaned it. I see something right there, but we'll have to go to the microscope. I've already cleaned this as best I can with alcohol and then dried it out as best I could. So hopefully we can save this because, as most of you know, the data is on this board. It's not removable. So RAM, processor, video, all the chips are on this piece of hardware right here. Okay, so right there, if you ever know what this is, anything with a red dot like this means that water came in contact with it. Boards for MacBooks have it all over the board. There's one right there, but it's not triggered, so that's good. Okay, so we've got everything out of here that I could, and then in a moment we're going to pull it apart. I do want to show you one thing though. A few videos ago, you would have seen that I showed how to turn a MacBook, without a battery, and that is by holding the power down and then plugging it in, and then a few seconds later letting go, and it basically turns on. I don't know if that works with the USB-C chargers, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in, and what we want to see is 5 volts, and then we want to see 20 volts. So there's 5. It's drawing very little current, and it never goes to 20 volts. Okay, so that's an issue in circuit that's probably happening. And you notice that one, as soon as I plug it in, it just blinks for a second. I don't know if you can even see that. Let me try this. Yeah, it's just blinks for a second and goes off. There's an issue with this one too. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through this, pull this board out, and then we will have a look at it under the microscope. So I'm already seeing some remnants of issues on this board that may not be repairable, but we're going to give it a shot. So let me grab my tool. Be right back. Okay, now we'll start getting this pulled apart here. This is actually a pretty easy one to do, just a few screws. Now I am seeing some issues on this board already, now that it started to dry out a little bit. So hopefully it's not a lost cause, and hopefully we can get this handled without too much trouble, and maybe even get lucky. Over here we've got the USB-C that I was using, so we're going to have to take a good look at that to make sure that it's not messed up as far as corrosion and things. So what's interesting is all of these liquid indicators, none of them are tripped that I can see, but there's still liquid on this board. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh boy. Alright, so I'm going to throw this under the microscope, show you what I just found here. Right over here, do not know if that's burnt or just a little charring from a short. Alright, that actually looks like it's still going to probably work. And on here, I mean, it's bad, but it's not. It doesn't look like it's a lost cause when I clean it. See that? We're going to give it a shot, though. So I'm going to take this out. Yeah. See, once it's cleaned, it actually doesn't look too awful. All right, so we have, it's the right angle here. We have a little bit more to do right here. I believe it's being held in from the cable right here. Normally I would say never use metal tools on these boards, but there's no power on it right now, so it should be okay. What's interesting is that this right here doesn't want to come off, so all right, going to take the wireless connection off here. There's your wireless. Wish I could get a better view here for you. See if I can do that. Bear with me. There we go. All right, so that was the wireless antenna right here. And I mean, I see lots of coffee, but I don't see a lot of burn, so that's good. Now the last thing we need to do is take this video cable loose. It has a little cover on it. You take the cover off to make sure to remember which way it goes, and then you can take your fingernail and just pop this off right here. Now what's holding that I don't believe is a screw. I think it's glue, or possibly a melted something or other. I think it's glue. What's interesting is I couldn't get this out of there through the normal means. The little tiny bit of coffee on there, but truth be told, it doesn't look too bad. We'll look at that under the microscope too. And then there's one last down here. Okay, board is out. Let's see what we can see under the microscope. I should also point out, look at that. That's still Oh, that's a little bit of alcohol still underneath there. That'll dry up. Again, I always say, if you're using alcohol, always use 92 or better, because anything that you use that's going to be close to 70 or something you'd buy in the store is not going to serve you well here. All right. So there's lots of coffee on here, but what we're looking for specifically is obvious burn marks, because you can have a little bit of coffee that can cause issues, but once you clean it, it usually rectifies the situation. Now I'm going to take this here off, this thing right here, because I believe that we can find some other components underneath here that we may need to clean up too. Make sure you cover all your bases. All right. Just a heat sink basically, but you'll see that there's stuff underneath there too. I want to say, yeah, I believe that's alcohol, so that's okay. All right, we have a little coil burn mark right there, or possibly just coffee. So far, it's not that bad, really. Now that looks like a short, but I don't know for sure that it's a burn. Okay, so we're going to hit a couple of these as we go, and then see how they clean up. See what I mean? Once they clean up pretty well. That looks okay too. Remember, we just cleaned that one. Okay. Now, underneath these, there's NAND and I believe a video chip or some RAM underneath there. So we're not going to mess with that because it's just a chip. All right, so now we're going to look under the bottom of this and just go from one side to the other. If anybody sees something that they think I'm missing, feel free to comment it, and we'll have a second look. But this microscope is pretty decent, so we probably will catch anything burnt. There's your video cable right there. All right, so that looks like a burn, but I don't think it is. Okay, so everything looks fine, believe it or not, all things considered. And it looks like the top of the board got the worst of it. It doesn't look like a whole lot got to the back side of this. However, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to clean the entire thing. Soak it with alcohol. Soak it with alcohol over here too. And even though it's alcohol, I'm going to make sure that I give this plenty ample time to dry out. There's what I was telling you about. Leave those, actually, might as well take this off for now. We can put that back. Make sure we get everything clean. Now, the alcohol has a habit of taking off adhesive, so that's what you're seeing right there. I'm not too worried about it because that's just adhesive that holds this fabric or whatever on. May not even put it back at this point. Going to clean off this too, put fresh thermal paste on it. Looks like a brand new board. Now, if you do this for a hobby, you may have heard of something called an ultrasonic cleaner. I've never purchased one. I'd have to justify the means to need it on a regular basis to spend that money. But anyhow, and then the back, because we're doing that, I might as well go ahead and get that clean too. And then we're going to look at the USB-C connector and see if we can get 20 volts out of this board. Once we get 20 volts out of the board, we can pretty much assume that it is fixed. Fixed. So, all right. Let that sit for just a few minutes. And then we'll look at this. This is important. Put under the microscope. We want to see what this looks like here. That alcohol dries your skin out real bad. Look at my skin. Yep. All right, so just going to give this one more clean as well. Now there could be some discoloration right there, but the top you can see gold, so I'm not too worried about that. I don't think there's a problem with the way that's connecting. And while we're at it, we'll clean the ports themselves. Usually when you see one clean and one not so clean, it's usually they're using one and not the other most of the time to charge or power their device. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the moment. I'm going to take a break and get all of this dried off so that way we can start reassembling this and seeing if we made any progress. So, be right back. Okay, here's where the moment of truth happens. This has had sufficient time to dry. I mean, I see a little bit of residue there, but I think that's just creamer or something. Doesn't look like a burn. So we're going to put this back in its place. We don't have to go crazy fastening it, but just to be sure, I'm going to put the cover on it. I'm not going to put it back in its case just now until we test it. These screws are tiny, like real tiny. All right, there's one and two. Okay, still got to put this back on. I think I'm going to put a little tiny bit of thermal compound on it. All right, a little bit of thermal compound. You never have to go too crazy with the thermal compound. Usually just a tiny bit will do. Now, we're not looking for this to boot up and everything else right now, because if we get 20 volts, then that means for the most part, it should boot up. That means everything's talking. Okay, again, that's in play. That's in play. Now, we're not looking for anything except to see a 20 volt transition from 5 to 20 volts. So let's see what happens. 5 volts, 10 volts, 20 volts. So essentially, this is fixed. Just that simple. But it's fixed as in it's fixed as long as the keyboard isn't shot, the screen isn't bad, touchpad still works, all of this. But the important thing is that their data, this will boot up. Okay? All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everyone, and like, subscribe, please. We're trying to grow the channel. I'm looking for that 1,000 subscriber mark. I'm going to do something pretty cool when that happens, and hopefully within the next month or two. That would be great. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this. And remember, I'll tell you 3 things about liquid spills. Number 1, get it off of power as soon as possible. If it starts up, don't use it. Shut it off. Take power off. Don't just hope that it will get better if you just leave it and keep using it. Number 2, cleaning can do so much for you when you get this thing off of power and clean it just like I did. It just brought this board back. These boards are expensive, but more importantly, the data that's on this chip, these chips right here, I think. There's your T2 and there's your RAM, I think, and maybe a SSD there. At any rate, when you have your data on here that can't be removed other than booting it. And number 3, remember, time is of the essence. Take your time, but get it off of power quickly and get it cleaned. Letting it sit in rice will do nothing for you. Okay, again, thanks very much, guys. Enjoy your day, and feel free to check out my other videos. I got a whole bunch. See ya.